Hey, what's up, and welcome to this episode of Rainer on Leadership, a twice-weekly podcast for those in church leadership and other forms of leadership. My name is Josh.
My name is Sam. And church is out for summer. Church is out. It's school. School's out forever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well,
I get
this
it.
will hit during spring break week for a lot of people. Or you might be listening to it during spring break week, and you're taking some time off, which you should, which is what this episode is about.
Yeah. We both happen to live in states and regions that everybody vacations to, and I'm a big fan of vacationing in Texas. I, for the life of me, don't see why anybody leaves ever, but sometimes my wife talks me into it, and we leave and go to other places. You, of course, are on the beautiful beaches of Florida. So
I just
it's gonna
go
be a great
north.
episode.
I go north about 6.5, 7 hours to Florida.
Oh, yeah, I like to drive south about 3 hours to another part of Texas, and vacation, it's my favorite place to be. So, all right. So, but before we jump into the 10 commandments of pastoral vacations, let's talk a little bit about our sponsorship.
Yeah, we're very grateful to have some amazing sponsors, and one of them is Southern Seminary. They have a new fully online PhD program. We think the world of it. We think the world of them. I went there. Josh is, arguably reprobate for not going there. But
I started my doctorate there. There. Yeah,
okay. I don't know what that means. But we certainly love Southern Seminary. Listen, the on-campus experience there is phenomenal. But not everyone can do that. So they have a new fully online PhD program, which I highly encourage you to go check out. sbts.edu/Rainer. So SB, Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, sbts.edu/Rainer. It's got everything you need. It's got all the same professors who teach on the Louisville campus, and that's how you say it, Louisville, not Louisville, not Louisville, Louisville. I went to high school there, and then I went to seminary there. So great program, great people, great professors. Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, sbts.edu/Rainer, Rainer. Spell it right. Go there. Go check them out. Thank you, Southern, for sponsoring the episode.
Yeah, I like it. Sam, where are you guys planning on going onto the vacation this year?
So we're doing something special. We will be snow skiing.
Oh,
Usually we just stay in Florida.
In Florida?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not snow skiing in Florida. So my kids, they don't know snow. They don't. They just. We live below the freeze line. We live in the tropical climate, and it doesn't even get hardly down into the 40s ever. So we're going to take all of them snow skiing. The girls, my two girls, have been. The two boys have not. So they're all really excited about it. It's so expensive. We can only every 2 or 3 years. We got to save up to do stuff like that, and maybe every couple 3 years we'll be able to go. But Steamboat is where we are going. Not sponsoring today's episode, but hey, Steamboat Ski Resort, we would be glad to. Just give me a free ski vacation. I will talk about you all the time.
Of course. We normally do our vacation. Our big family vacation is spring break, so we'll go somewhere. We're kicking around either another part of Texas or San Diego, which is not in the great state. And then this summer, Jackie and I have been married for 20 years, so we're going to take off, and we're going to likely go to Banff. That's the plan.
Yes. I've been to Canmore.
Oh, really?
It's right down the road.
Or we're thinking about just one of our parks, maybe Yosemite or something like that, Yellowstone. So we'll see. We'll see what we're going to do.
Shout out to all the Albertans. Hey, we know you're listening. Banff is a great place.
I hear it's the Texas of Canada. They're very much Western culture, rodeos, very, very Texas.
So shout out specifically to Steve Shifley. Our listeners probably don't know who he is, but he is a pastor in that area, and he will tell you that it is the Texas of Canada, and he's a pretty awesome dude.
I love that.
So,
well, Steve.
Yeah, Church Answers member, long time Church Answers connection there. Steve Shifley. Shout out to you.
That's cool. All right. A lot of guys don't take the vacations that they should, especially as pastors, because this is one of those jobs that never ends. And a lot of jobs are like that. That's not unique to pastoring, but this is one of those things that you can't file these 20 files per day and then go home. there is no ending mark on this, which is something we should just constantly remind ourselves. Like, you either have to stop, it's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. So you got to be strong enough for your own good and your family's good and your health and all that, and even for the good of the church, to slow it down. So Sam, you've written 10 thou shalts. We're going King James version on this episode here, on exactly how we should approach our vacations.
Yeah, and this was an article I wrote several years ago, and I figured we'd just bring it back as a podcast episode. So if you're going, have I heard these before? Yes, you probably have if you've been following our content at Church Answers. But, sometimes things work on an article and sometimes things work to talk about them, and then sometimes it's good to do both. Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
Sometimes it doesn't work on either, but we're going to still try.
We're going to try anyway. Thou shalt take a vacation every year. And to all of you Bible Covo pastors out there, I hear you. I feel you. Your pain is felt. Like, you have to take vacation to do funerals. You have to take vacation to do VBS. I get it. It's hard. But man, if you can, take a vacation every year. For those of you who are in full-time ministry, there's no excuse. If you need to take at least a week every year. Not everyone needs multiple weeks every year, but everybody should do at least a week a year and be with your family. Go and hang with your family, even if it's a staycation, which I'm not a huge fan of because that's going to get to point number 2. But at a minimum, you should be taking a week with your family.
Yeah, I'm going to push back a little bit on this. We've done this before on other episodes when we're talking about sabbaticals or specifically about like the length of benefit structure and stuff like that. I stand sort of in the middle. I think if you have the ability and do it, it's a good thing to do. I don't know that I would say, and these are we're of course putting them in the terms of commandments, thou shalt. But it just dawned on me one day. I'm not sure this concept ever came about. Like, where did it come about that we're going to take a week off from working? I would argue that you definitely should if you can. However, I think the bigger emphasis, of course, is to protect your evenings and to observe the Sabbath. And so if you take a day off every week, if you protect your evenings, if you're not running yourself ragged, then vacations are not necessary. So that's where I'm arguing with that. But at the same time, if you have the ability to do it, then go ahead and do it. But, I heard somebody say if you're trying to look for 1 week out of a year to somehow get all the rest that you need in a whole year, that's just not how we're made. Your phone has to charge every night, and you're going to wait all the way till June to recharge your batteries and all that kind of stuff. That's just not going to work. So I think it's definitely a very, very smart move to make. I just don't want you to get into a stage where you're like, I deserve this, or this is my right, or, they don't love Jesus because they don't give me 2 weeks vacation. That's not really the case.
I'm totally with you. You should never need a sabbatical. Like,
that's a good way to say it.
Your church may give you one, and most people know how I feel about that. If you're new to the show, I'm not a big fan of sabbaticals. But if you get one, great. It's not a hill to die on for me. But you should never need one. If you need one, that's a problem. Like, yes, it means you're not in a good rhythm. I'm with you. The weekly rhythm is far more important than the 1 week vacation that you may take.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to say it.
You brought up a good point, though. Go back 100 years. This idea of 2 weeks off is just like, it's not in society. But productivity is much greater than 100 years ago. Much, much greater. The expectations are different, and the always-on mentality is there in American work culture. So I would push back on your pushback and say, fair point, but most people don't live in a world where their bosses or their companies or even their churches let them turn off at night, even though you probably should.
Yeah, and that's really and I think this is going to get into the second point here in just a minute, but the greater need is personal discipline. The greater need is boundaries, those sort of things. And sometimes you get caught in a rat race, and all I'm saying is get off the wheel. Like, stop doing that to yourself and stop and just put your foot down. And the next time that you go for a church interview or you're going to go to a new job, these need to be very clear expectations. Look, at the end of the day, I am off, and I am not chasing my tail for these kind of things. Thankfully, coming here, I was coming out of such a stressful situation. Coming here, this church has been so gloriously good about saying, yeah, you got to protect that stuff, and hopefully holding that up as an ideal. But let's jump to number 2. Thou shalt get off the field. What are you talking about there?
Yeah. If you're going to take a vacation, I think it's best to go someplace. Because when you do staycations, and there are times for them, hear me out. You've got kids, they're of age, they've got practice or whatever. They're, playing, our kids are in sports. Sometimes it's not the church that makes it hard for us to get away. It's like the sports schedule.
Yeah.
It's us. I understand why every year you might not be able to get off the field. And for some people, it's financial. It's like, hey, I would love to do that, but, we're barely making ends meet, and the idea of paying even $150 a night at a mid-grade hotel is just not even an option. Fair enough. But if possible, get off the field, go someplace. Literally, even if it's like 2 hours away, and you're just going to go to, a mid-grade amusement park, or, you're staying at a friend's house. Park. Yeah, a state park. Oh, that's a good one. We've done that as a family.
Very
we
affordable.
To camp. Mm-hmm. So it's just the idea that you're not there. You're getting out of by getting away. It's easier to turn off. It's harder to turn off when you're in town. You have that temptation to kind of do what you've always done. It's good to break rhythm. That's part of a vacation, is breaking rhythm for the sake of being with your family. So I'm with you. I think vacations are less about getting rest and more about spending quality time with your family. Sure. Vacations for me are more exhausting. Because, I've got kids and they want my time, and that's awesome. I want them to have that time, but I'm not getting any more rest on vacation.
No, and you're not sleeping well. It's not your bed, all that kind of stuff. I would just encourage you, if you do a staycation, I'm a fan of staycations. I live in a city that I stinking love, and I never want to leave this place. But if you do, most people don't like staycations because they don't do staycations. What they do is they just don't do anything for a week. And I would encourage you not to do that. Plan it like you are going on a vacation. So where are we going to eat this evening? You're not spending any money on travel. You're not spending any money on hotel. So where are we going to eat? Let's go try out some things. A lot of people that live in major cities or major regions, a lot of times you'll talk to them and they're like, I've never done any of the touristy things. I've never done that thing that everybody comes here to do. I'll admit it. I have never once been to the JFK assassination site.
The book depository?
Yeah, I've never done it. A lot of people come here to do that. And so that's the kind of thing that I look at staycations. I'll pull up, what are the top 10 things to do in Dallas-Fort Worth and see. I've probably done most of them, but what are some to do? Let's go do those. That's what I would encourage you to do with staycation, and change the rhythms a little bit. Tell everybody to get off their devices. We're going to go hang out at, the friend's pool or something like that. So it's a good word. Staycations aren't bad. You need to actually do the staycation part, not just the stay part.
So point 3, thou shalt leave clear instructions before you go.
Yeah.
Don't leave your people hanging. Don't leave if you have a staff, don't leave your staff hanging. Tell them where you're going to be. If an emergency, tell them how to get a hold of you. I had a worship pastor once, and I'm not getting into too many details, but this was a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. This was many years ago, not at the current church I'm at now. But he would take a vacation on a Sunday and not tell anyone that he was leaving. And so I would show up to church and I'd be like, where is he? And they'd be all like, we don't know. And somebody would, this was kind of before texting was a thing. They'd call him and say, well, I'm on vacation today. Like, did you let anybody know? No. And so we'd all be scrambling,
Yeah. What are you
he didn't even tell me. He didn't even tell me. Yeah. Don't do that. You may say, well, who does that? Well, there are people that do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and always my encouragement is those last couple instructions need to be, here's the person to ask questions to, and chill out. So I'm like, here's the best that we could figure out. Here's the 8-9 things. Here's the preacher. Here's, in my case, here's the preacher. Here's who's covering that. Here's who's covering that. Number 9, if I don't have anybody else, if there's something not covered, ask so-and-so. And I'll put
in case
that
of
down.
Emergency, break glass, and don't call me.
Not me. Call that guy. He's in charge, or she's in charge. And then the last one is always and then just chill out. I'm not going to be mad if I get back and y'all did the best you could and it went wrong. That's fine, because that could have happened with me here. And so that really helps people set at ease. There are some people that have anxieties when the boss leaves because they're like, ugh, I don't want to make him mad. Yeah.
My team's like,
they're just throwing parties, canceled church, killed a service. Yeah.
Actually, they'll be like, meetings are going to be really efficient, and we're not going to have this guy rambling. I led meetings yesterday because my executive pastor was out. He is my containment. My executive pastor is my containment, and he was gone, so I just rambled.
Oh wow, got to make a plan, stick to it. But that's
Point
another
four.
thing we'll talk about. 4, relax.
Thou shalt relax, as you just said. Chill out, but you need to chill out too.
What's the relaxing thing for you? Is it reading? Is it sitting by a fire? What things do you like to do to relax?
So what's most relaxing for me is to have almost nothing on my calendar, because I'm president of Church Answers. I'm a lead pastor. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. And there's always something, someone, somewhere that needs my time. And so my calendar is always very, very full. Some of you could say, well, Sam, that's your own doings, and it is. But what's most relaxing for me is to wake up and go, okay, I only have one thing to do today. That would be wonderful. I'm also most relaxed when I'm working on my house. So I actually had a little bit of free time last week, and I replaced all of the door handles on the house. And
I love projects like that.
Man, it was great. It was awesome. I'm not a handyman, but I figured it out. And those of you who are handy people, and you're like, seriously, that's the easiest thing in the world to do.
You figured it out.
But just humor me. I was like, I figured this out, including ones with locks. So I did all the deadbolts. I did everything. And
that's cool.
Yeah, that was super relaxing because it's not something I typically do. And I could see my progress. It was it's like mowing the yard. You see the stripes, and you're like, there's that feeling of accomplishment. In ministry, it never ends, as you said earlier. So for me, honestly, if I had 2 weeks and I could just do house projects, like redo my garage, paint it and stuff, that would be super relaxing for me.
We've talked about it before, I love washing my truck. But when I'm on vacation, the things that are relaxing are, I like to go ahead and go the first day and stop by Walmart or Target and buy groceries for that week. Because we normally stay in an Airbnb. I don't like going to hotels. Or we'll borrow a house from somebody. It's relaxing to me because I like to just kind of have junk food around, and we get to eat whatever we want. We're going to grill steaks, and we just buy all the stuff that we need. So that's a relaxing tip. I also like to go for somewhat hikes, nature walks, those kind of things. So I like to plan those things into the vacation. I don't like to go hike up a hill and then sit there for 5 seconds and run back down it. I want to sit. I want to hang around if there's a pool that we have access to. So just think through those deals. Sometimes people plan vacations like it's some sort of mad dash, like they're trying to run through and book every moment of every day.
Shout out to Erin Rayner, my wife.
Is that how she does?
She doesn't stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
She will exhaust you.
Oh my gosh. We plan naps every day. There's going to be a nap at this point. You don't have to go to sleep, but you got to shut up, sit down somewhere and hang out, read a book or something. So, man, that's a good break. Don't schedule all your time. Number 5, thou shalt enjoy your family.
Yeah. I mean, we've been kind of carrying on this theme a little bit throughout this episode. Make sure you plan your vacation around something that your family will enjoy. Don't plan a vacation to all be going your separate ways.
Yeah.
And, the older my kids get, the more I realize that is the temptation, where we'll all have time and we'll all end up in different places. No, you need to have a week every year where you're focusing on the family and having a good time together, whatever that is. For us, I'm really excited about snow skiing because we're all going to be together. We won't be able to communicate much. We won't be able to talk, but we'll be going down the slopes together, which would be nice. And then we can talk on the way back up in the gondola.
Sure. What's more enjoyable than a controlled fall down an icy cold rock? That just sounds so enjoyable and sounds fun to do, snow skiing. One of our favorite things, we went to Phoenix surprise, and watch the Rangers, the baseball team here, do their spring training. Spring training is a fun thing to go to. So because they're always in fantastic places where the weather's amazing. That's why they're in those places. So just follow.
I went last week.
Yeah,
it's in my backyard.
Yeah, go wherever Major League Baseball teams are taking their spring trainings. I'm not even into baseball, but go where they go for spring break. It's a great time. What's next here? Read something fun.
Thou shalt read something fun. The sixth commandment of a pastor's vacation. I always take a book with me on something that is unedifying but fun. Something that's not spiritual.
Trashy novels.
Yeah, I mean, Carl Hyacin. Yeah, there's some books like that. For those of you who are fiction lovers, I like Hyacin. And some of you are like, that's just trash. And I'm like, I don't care. It is. It's a lot of fun to read. No, it's just something like that is not related to my work. Something that I can read that's just fun. Hemingway's a big plus for me. I love Hemingway, so I might take a Hemingway novel with me or something like that. Just something you can enjoy. It could be something as simple as like a big biography, a presidential, history that you haven't read. Truman by McCullough is awesome. Just finished that one. Just bring something fun. Put the Puritans down. You don't need it on vacation. And just read something fun.
Yes, nerds. Cut it out. And nobody wants to talk about it either. We could, I agree with you. And that even includes in your vacation, just scheduling some time to read. Like that way you're not running all over the place. I agree with you. I like to take a book with me. I take my Kindle, load it down. Normally it's a John Grisham book and then some fun kind of theology type of stuff. Nothing really into what I'm doing. What do you got next, man?
Commandment number 7, thou shalt not skip church. I'm big on this. You should take at least one Sunday off a year, and you should be in church on that Sunday, somebody else's church, not your own. I know that there are people that differ with me on this. Mm-hmm. I don't care. My kids will probably grow up saying, yeah, Dad drug our butts to church literally every single Sunday, even on vacation. I'm going to be like, you're darn straight I did. Because I just think the church is that darn tootin'. That's right. I just think that the body of Christ and the kingdom of God is that important. And I want to worship. I want to worship with the body of believers. There's a couple of churches I love going to on vacation. So that's where we go. And I don't think you should skip church.
I agree with you. I'm almost legalistic about it. I love it. I love going to other churches. Now, Jackie gets a little bit twisted up about this, only because we don't normally pack quote-unquote church clothes, and we have our vacation clothes. I don't care. I'll walk in with a T-shirt and shorts on and my flip-flops because I'm just there for church. I don't care. I also know that pastor doesn't care. They don't care. They just like you coming to church, So I agree with you. I think this is a good thing to do. I also enjoy church. I like going to other people's churches. I like going to different churches that are very high church or extremely laid back, something different than I normally go to. I also like, and I don't suggest this, but I do like preaching. So sometimes I'll tag a sermon, like I'm in a friend's neighborhood, and I'll preach at their church that Sunday just for the fun of it. And sometimes they'll pay for like my airfare to go. Like my ticket is comped because they would have done that anyways. So that's kind of a benefit too. You got to be able to do that and not be writing a sermon all week. If you're able to do that, then that's okay. But don't write a sermon on your vacation.
Indeed. All right. Commandment number 8, thou shalt not skip devotional time. This one's a no-brainer. Yeah. You don't take a vacation from God's word, just like you don't take a vacation from church. This is something you should do every day, regardless. Yeah. Don't use your vacation time to get out of a rhythm of, devotion.
That's a bad idea. You ate breakfast every day. You had your coffee every day on vacation, so do your
you
devotion.
special coffee on vacation. So you need to do extra time in the Word of God. All right,
next one, thou shalt not feel guilty. Relax.
Yeah, just relax. It is okay to be away. It's okay. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Mm-hmm. They don't really need you. Your church really doesn't need you. They only need Jesus, and your whole point is to shepherd them to Jesus. And if your church is in such a shape to where they need you so badly that you can't leave, you've set yourself up to be their Messiah instead of Jesus. So don't feel guilty. Just go, have a good time, come back, and get right back into it. Guilt is a bad thing to have for, a number of reasons. It's a terrible motivator, and you shouldn't feel guilty when you're gone.
Yeah, the irony is that if the church is so dependent on you, they can't function without you. That's what you should feel guilty about, not that you took a break. So go back. I
see what you did there.
That. Yeah. Number 10, thou shalt not return unless in an extreme emergency, or it's the end of the week, like you need to come back. But thou shalt not return unless it's an extreme emergency.
Yeah, I struggle with this one. What is an extreme emergency? I don't really know. Only you can determine that for you and your church. I can imagine some scenarios at West Bradenton where I did. There was a couple of times in 10 years where I've come back from a vacation for some very specific things, and I don't regret that. They were true emergencies, but for what most people think of emergencies aren't, and it really just the really extreme stuff should you be returning for. Just because somebody's in the hospital does not mean you need to come back. That is not an extreme emergency.
And even, I'll say this, even deaths, it's just not all the same. So there's some stuff like that. You can't really affect it. It shouldn't be completely dependent on you. So don't come back for extreme. Now, one thing is if something really tragic is going on in the community, you can't really do anything by being there, and you still got 3 or 4 more days on your vacation. I would just say chill out on the pictures. You maybe don't want to post a ton of pictures of you having like a margarita on the beach while, your city's burning down. So you can't do anything about it. You shouldn't come back. I agree with you there. But just chill out on social media because there's going to be a feeling there.
You should do that anyway. Not everyone understands the pressures of ministry, and they may not know that you haven't taken a vacation in 3 years or whatever. Don't give people a reason to take pot shots at you. So I would minimize social media anyway. If you want to post a picture of your family, hey, we're having a great time, whatever, go for it. But 2 and 3 pictures a day of what you're doing is
of your lobster.
It's ill-advised. You just don't know how people are going to receive that. So I would just say chill on social media anyway. You shouldn't be fearful. And if you want to post a nice picture of your family, do it. But you can overdo it, and you can invite criticism, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's always a balance. So those are our 10 loosely held commands of vacations for pastors. We just really want you to get encouragement and strength and rest. And that's the main thing. Enjoy your family, slow your rhythms down. These are good things, but don't get out of the good rhythms. Make sure your butt's in church on Sunday morning, or Moses will be disappointed once you get to heaven. So that's our thing to tell you.
Yeah, don't disappoint Moses. Go to Church Teams, sponsor of today's episode. They have nothing to do with Moses or the burning bush or anything like that. I'm really bad at segues, and I'm going to continue to be bad at them. So, hey, Church Teams has been a long-time sponsor. Boyd Pelly and his crew do amazing work. They have a church management software system for you. So they've got all sorts of systems that can take care of your needs. So if you are a pastor, what I love what they do, they take stuff off your plate. They don't put it on your plate. They take it off your plate, and they help you do your job more easily. So you need to reach out to them. You can go to go.churchteams.com. Again, go.churchteams.com, and reach out to them. Tell them we sent you. And go see all that they have to offer, whether it be online giving or text to give or databases. They've got it all. Church Teams is your answer to all of your software and systems needs.
Yeah, sounds really great. Thank you so much for listening, and make sure that you share the show. Let other people know about what we're doing here so that we can help them out as well. We'll catch you next time.